My dear students, I am Sunil Ranjan and I am an English teacher. In this session, I am going to take up Pre-Raphaelite Movement in poetry, and this is prescribed in English Honours syllabus in many universities. The Pre-Raphaelite movement, which was initiated by Dante Gabriel Rossetti in the mid-19th century, was originally not a literary but an artistic movement. Rossetti himself was a painter as well as a poet. He felt that contemporary paintings had become too formal, academic, and unrealistic. He desired to see it taken back to the realism, sensuousness, and devotion to detail which characterized the art of the Italian painters before Raphael. Raphael was no doubt an excellent and noted painter of his day, but Rossetti and his ilk perhaps rightly thought that he had started the movement towards academic touch in art. Led by Rossetti, some painters organized themselves in London in 1848 into a group which came to be called the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Apart from Rossetti, William Holman Hunt, John Millais, Thomas Woomer, and James Collinson were the important members of this group. In painting, they broke the shackles of stereotype traditions. They effected a return to nature by giving up the bulk of traditionalized sophistication which had accumulated over the centuries after Raphael. The statement of belief of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood was an entire adherence to the simplicity of art. Ruskin, who came to champion the cause of the Pre-Raphaelites in the teeth of severe opposition, said that they imitate no pictures, they paint from nature only. And again, every Pre-Raphaelite landscape background is painted to the last touch in the open air from the thing itself. Every minute accessory is painted in the same manner. And when he said this, he said a great deal. The anti-conventionalism of the Pre-Raphaelites marks them as neo-romantics. Rossetti and some other members of the Brotherhood were both painters and poets. Consequently, Pre-Raphaelitism, not remaining confined to painting, made its presence felt in English poetry. The qualities which distinguish Pre-Raphaelite painting also characterized Pre-Raphaelite poetry. In poetry, the movement came in the shape of a revolt against contemporary poetry of the kind of Tennyson's, which was full of tradition and involved in the immediate, ordinary, and commonplace problems of contemporary society. To justify their ideas, the Brotherhood started a periodical publication, The Germ, which did not, however, extend beyond 4 numbers. As an organized group, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood ceased to exist beyond the early 1850s. But with the meeting of Rossetti and William Morris in 1856, the movement was revitalized. Other poets like Swinburne, Coventry Patmore, and Austin Dobson also came under Rossetti's influence. But they did not go unattacked. Robert Buchanan came out with a stinging onslaught on what he considered was the indecently erotic nature of Pre-Raphaelite poetry. Rossetti and Swinburne were quick to join issues with him, and the result was a lot of polemics. Polemics refers to attacking piece of writing or speech. Now I move on to the salient features of Pre-Raphaelite poetry. Well, the first feature is break with tradition. Pre-Raphaelite poetry broke with the set tradition of poets like Tennyson. The Pre-Raphaelites revolted against the over-concern of poets like Tennyson with contemporary socio-political problems. Consequently, none of the Pre-Raphaelites concerns himself with filthy realism and the mundane issues of his day, but escapes to a dream world of his own making. Now, feature number 2. This is medievalism. Medieval Italy, being the land of artists before Raphael, held for them a very special attraction. Some Pre-Raphaelites, such as Hunt and Millais the painter, were somewhat skeptical of medievalism, but Rossetti and Morris, in particular, felt a compulsive fascination for the romance, chivalry, gorgeousness, mystery, and supernaturalism of the Middle Ages. However, it was Rossetti alone who, among the members of the original Brotherhood, exalted medievalism to a cult. Later, Morris also came under the medieval spell. Feature number 3. Devotion to detail. The Pre-Raphaelites, as a rule, bothered more about the particular than about the general. They loved to linger on details. They tried to paint the thing itself, not a traditional copy of it. Sometimes it strikes the reader with a forceful, concrete effect, making for freshness of perception. In Coleridge's Christabel and Keats' The Eve of St. Mark, this tendency to linger on simple detail can be noticed. Indeed, Christabel has rightly been called the first Pre-Raphaelite poem. Feature number 4. Sensuousness. Like Rossetti, most Pre-Raphaelites were painters as well as poets. That explains much of the sensuousness of their poetry, as well as their loving concern for details. Much of their poetry is as concrete as painting. Feature number 5. Fleshly School of Poetry. The Pre-Raphaelites made no bones about the exhibition of their voluptuous tendencies, but it is difficult to charge them with grossness or immorality. Rossetti is not an indecent sensualist, as he deals with the physical body as something blended with the inner character and even the spirit itself. Indeed, the Pre-Raphaelites were hypersensitive, which led them to excessive sensuousness, not entirely free from the immoral taint. And finally, feature number 6, and that is meter and music. Pre-Raphaelite poetry is rich not only in pictorial quality but also in music. The trouble is that the Pre-Raphaelites go to excess in both. The excessive use of alliteration and onomatopoeic effects makes often for oversweetness. Alliteration is good if it does not become a persistent mannerism and if it does not outsound the sense. So, this was on Pre-Raphaelite movement of poetry. So, thank you for watching and listening to me. And my dear students, if you have not subscribed, do subscribe so that we can be together in the time to come. Thank you.